150 times. That is the astounding number of times industry insiders estimate we check our phones every single day. I mean, think about it. We are constantly pulling them out of our pockets, swiping, tapping, checking. But why? It's a problem we all instantly recognize in ourselves, right? But very, very few of us actually understand the mechanics behind it.
And that brings us to a massive question. One that creates a real curiosity gap for anyone paying attention. How is our behavior being engineered? How do companies who literally produce nothing more than lines of code on a piece of glass manage to seemingly control our minds and dictate our actions? Because make no mistake, it is absolutely not an accident. It's a highly engineered system. Well, that is exactly what we are going to unpack in today's Explainer, where we're decoding the system behind habits. I'm going to give you the exact blueprint, the hidden four-step framework that these companies use to build habit-forming products, all based on the brilliant insights from Eyal's work. And more importantly, we're going to see how you can take this exact same mental model, this superpower, and use it to build positive habits for yourself.
Okay, here's our cognitive map for today. 1. Why we get hooked. 2. The hidden habit system. 3. The four-phase hook model. 4. Designing your own hooks. And finally, 5. Building habits for good. Let's just dive straight in and deconstruct this thing.
Starting with part 1, why we get hooked, the reality of our daily actions.
So we need to kick things off by confronting the reality of what our brains are actually doing all day. Cognitive psychologists tell us that nearly half of everything we do are actually just habits. They're these automatic shortcuts stored deep in our brain. Because of this, the first-to-mind solution wins, always. For a product or behavior to survive in what we call the habit zone, it literally only needs two things: high frequency and high perceived utility. If you feel a tiny bit bored and instantly open Twitter, or you have a random question and immediately Google it, well, those companies have already won. They become your default, first-to-mind solution, and they didn't have to spend a single dime on marketing to get you to do it.
Which leads us to part 2, the hidden habit system, manufacturing desires.
Okay, so we just established that habits dictate our actions. But here is the hidden mechanism you really need to understand. Habits aren't just created out of thin air. They are systematically manufactured. Think of it like a pearl inside an oyster, built layer upon layer, sparked by an initial tiny irritant. And there are two types of triggers used to do this. First, you have external triggers. Things like notifications, emails, ads, app icons flashing on your screen. They explicitly tell you what to do next. But here's the real aha moment. Internal triggers. This is the holy grail for product designers. You see, a habit is truly formed when a product attaches itself to your internal, often negative emotions. Boredom, loneliness, anxiety, FOMO. You feel a tiny pang of stress, and boom, you open Instagram to capture a photo before rational thought even has a chance to kick in.
All right, part 3, the four-phase hook model, the mental blueprint.
So, the million-dollar question: how do companies actually connect those triggers to our actions? Well, it relies on a very specific mental blueprint consisting of exactly 4 steps that pull a user into a continuous, unbreakable cycle of engagement. Step 1, the trigger. Step 2, the action. Step 3, the variable reward. And step 4, the investment. I promise you, once you grasp this 4-step blueprint, you're going to start noticing it literally everywhere, in the apps and products you interact with every single day.
Think of it as an engine that just feeds itself. It kicks off with that trigger we just talked about, either external or internal, which then sparks the user to take action. That action leads directly to a variable reward, which completely satisfies the user's craving. And finally, there's an investment from the user, which seamlessly loops the whole process right back to the start. It's a brilliant cycle. Let's actually zoom in on that action phase for a second.
For an action to actually happen, doing has to be easier than thinking. To explain this, we look to the FOG behavior model. It's defined simply as B equals MAT. Behavior happens when motivation, ability, and a trigger all converge at the exact same moment. If any single piece of this formula is missing, or even just slightly off, you simply won't cross the action line. The behavior just fails.
Let's rapidly break those pulleys down. Motivation is deeply human. It's driven by our search for pleasure, hope, or social acceptance. Ability, on the other hand, is all about friction, saving time, saving effort, reducing cognitive load. And the trigger, as we know, is the prompt itself. The smartest product designers out there leverage these 3 levers to make taking action as effortless as humanly possible. Think about the last time you hit a login with Facebook or login with Google button instead of creating a whole new account. That instantly skyrocketed your ability by reducing friction to virtually zero.
So you've taken the action. The absolutely crucial point is what happens immediately next, the variable reward. And there are three distinct types. First, rewards of the tribe. That's our fundamental human search for social connection, like getting likes on a post. Second, rewards of the hunt. Searching for information and resources, like endlessly scrolling through a news feed just to see what pops up. And third, rewards of the self. The search for achievement and mastery, like clearing out your email inbox or leveling up in a video game. Now notice the word variable here. Unpredictable variable rewards create a massive surge of dopamine in your brain in anticipation of the payoff. It's that slot machine effect, and it effectively suppresses judgment and activates intense desire.
Let's bring this to part 4, designing your own hooks and real-world application.
Now that we've got the theory down, let's see how these psychological concepts actually operate in the real world. Pinterest is a brilliant example. Pinterest uses this wildly exciting juxtaposition of relevant and irrelevant images. You see something that catches your eye, you click. That's the simple, low-friction action. The feed then offers you an endless scrolling cornucopia of variable rewards. It sets your brain's dopamine system completely aflutter. You start hunting for the next wonderful image, and before you know it, you've been sitting there for 45 minutes just scrolling.
But what happens next is the real secret sauce of the whole hook model. You absolutely must ask for user investment after the reward, not before. Now, this is a highly counterintuitive insight. Normally, product designers want to make things as easy as possible all the time. But here, you're intentionally introducing a little bit of friction. You're asking the user to do some work, like pinning an image or organizing a board, but only after their craving has been satisfied and they are psychologically primed to reciprocate.
So, why do we ask for this investment? What's the point of the friction? Because investments load the next trigger. When a user follows someone on Twitter, when they state a preference, send a selfie on Snapchat, or build a virtual asset in a game, they are storing personal value in that product, and that stored value naturally sets up the next external trigger. It triggers a notification that someone liked your pen or replied to your snap, which seamlessly restarts the entire loop all over again.
And that brings us to our final section, Part 5, Building Habits for Good, the Transformation.
The goal here is to shift our mindset. We need to go from being passive consumers to becoming responsible architects of our own behavior. Look, the modern trinity of access, data, and speed presents unprecedented opportunities to create positive habits. This mental model we've been unpacking, it isn't just a sneaky recipe for manipulation or building addictive apps. If we harness the superpower correctly, we can genuinely enhance our lives, boost our productivity, build healthy behaviors, and radically improve our relationships.
Let's pull all of this together and look at the entire hidden machine at work. It always starts with the trigger, internal or external. We make the action effortless by maximizing motivation and ability. We deliver a variable reward that satisfies the immediate need, but still leaves the user craving a little bit more. And finally, we ask for an investment of effort that strategically loads the next trigger. That right there is the fundamental blueprint of human habit design.
Which leaves us with one final, very provocative question to chew on. How will you use this superpower? Because understanding the hook model truly is a superpower. Now that you don't just know the basic theory, but deeply fundamentally understand the hidden system behind our habits, I challenge you to apply this new way of thinking. Use it to build better products? Sure. But also use it to design better personal routines and finally take control of your own automated behaviors. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.